yeas are 218, the nays are 214. The motion is adopted.
And we begin 13 News at 4 with breaking news. A big win for President Trump. This afternoon, the House passed his $4.5 trillion tax and spending cuts legislation. Thanks for inviting us in. I'm Scott Swan in for Dustin Grove. This final vote today was mostly along party lines.
And the sweeping bill is now heading to the president's desk ahead of his self-imposed Independence Day deadline. Here's Michael Yoshida.
A deeply divided House passing the Senate's version of President Trump's mega bill.
Nobody said it would be easy. But you know what? We didn't come here to do easy things. We came here to do big things.
A group of hardline GOP members who had threatened to block the sweeping tax and spending cuts legislation eventually falling in line, following an intense campaign from the White House and Republican Party leaders. The president reportedly promising fiscal hardliners concerned about trillions being added to the national deficit that certain provisions for green energy tax credits would be phased out.
What those holdouts were doing was exactly what we were all doing. We are advocating for our district.
Democrats denouncing the bill. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries speaking for hours, delaying a final vote.
I'm going to take my time and ensure that the American people fully understand how damaging this bill will be to their quality of life.
The multi-trillion-dollar legislation would unlock tax cuts and funding boosts for national security, partly paid for by the largest cut to the federal safety net in decades. Tax breaks and changes to the tax code could benefit corporate America, manufacturers, and high-income Americans, while low-income Americans could be worse off due to the bill's historic cuts to Medicaid and food stamps. A ripple effect could also hit the healthcare system, especially rural hospitals, and roughly $3.4 trillion is also projected to be added to the deficit over the next decade. In Washington, Michael Yoshida reporting.
And both of Indiana's Republican senators, Todd Young and Jim Banks, voted for the bill. And today, a group of Hoosiers showed up at Senator Todd Young's office to let him know that they were not happy with his decision.
Yeah, they were concerned about cuts to Medicaid and food stamps. We've got Emily Longnecker in studio to explain who showed up today and what they brought with them to make their point. Emily?
Well, hi, folks. This was a group of clergy of different faith traditions from right here in Indianapolis, and they basically held a funeral service outside Senator Todd Young's office today. They say this bill and some of the cuts in it to Medicaid and SNAP are going to have deadly consequences for some of the most vulnerable. And they brought an entire funeral procession with them to drive home their point, including a hearse and a coffin, which they took out, laid on the ground, and prayed over for several minutes. They say that coffin represents Hoosiers who will lose their lives with some of the cuts in this bill.
This mock funeral is a lament for what we're losing, a lifeline for families, health care for the most vulnerable, and nourishment for children who did not get to vote but will feel the consequences the most.
He has already made his choice, and so while his decision and this bill is not final for all eternity, it will be for some people in those consequences. And so as a result of the decision he's made, this imagery is to represent the reality that our neighbors and loved ones may face.
Young issued a statement about his vote on the bill that said, in part, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act will deliver the largest tax cut in history for working and middle-class Hoosiers, expand the child tax credit, spur new economic growth and job creation, and advance President Trump's agenda. Now, one of the organizers of today's gathering said that they actually had a scheduled meeting with the staff at Senator Young's office that they had set up ahead of time, but when they showed up, they were barred from coming in to the building. There was a large group of people. They said they were not even given a chance to really explain that they had a meeting set up. So we reached out to Senator Young's office to get their side of things, and a spokesperson just issued a statement which said our office was scheduled to meet with a group of 3 to 5 people in accordance with our building's policy. Our team will continue to meet with constituents and is happy to meet with these constituents at a later date. So that statement just coming in just in the past few minutes from a spokesperson from Senator Todd Young's office.
Okay, some big developments in D.C. and the ripple effects felt here closer to home.
Correct.
All right, thank you, Emily. We appreciate your reporting. All right, let us talk about the other big story impacting this weekend, the weather, because everyone is looking. We want to know what tonight, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, keep it going
Yes,
on
I can
Monday.
do that. But does
Yeah,
anyone
big
want to go
help.
back to work on Monday? Let's not
Nobody's
think
going to
about
want to
Monday.
do that. Felt a little hotter today. Did you
You
feel
could
that way?
feel
to you?
it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
certainly. So it seems like we're getting in some of these cooler mornings and that temperature spiking.
It's spiking for sure. We've had a couple of mornings in the 60s. We'll be close to 70 early tomorrow. And that's an indicator that the humidity is climbing. It's going to be warm. It's going to be muggy. Place to be, nice and cool in Gainbridge Fieldhouse tonight. Our Fever back at home. Temperatures will be in the upper 80s for that tip this evening under partly cloudy skies. It's warm, it's muggy out there. We have a mix of sun and clouds, and temperatures right now in the upper 80s, close to 90, coming in at 90 in Crawfordsville, 87 Brown County and Bunker Hill, currently 90 Carmel, and 88 degrees in Indianapolis. Temperatures will stay on the warm side over the next several hours. Thought we might get 1 or 2 storms popping up on radar. Nothing close to home, but I do want to take you north. I've got one cell in the southern sections of lower Michigan, but obviously that's not going to have an impact here. A storm or two still possible as we look ahead to Friday, Saturday, perhaps becoming more numerous later in the day on Sunday. But go ahead and make those outdoor plans for the 4th of July. Just be prepared for the high heat, high humidity. We're expecting high temperatures in the low 90s. If we get a couple of storms developing, couple is the key word. They're going to be few and far between and shouldn't impact most of central Indiana. The heat and a few storms. When? Now through Monday, 90-degree heat, a few storms that could contain some lightning, heavy rain, strong wind gusts. So remember those heat safety tips. Do your exercising, walking the dog early in the day or perhaps during the evening when it's not as hot. Download that 13 weather app and sign up for alerts, especially with these pop-up storms. Those alerts will alert you if a storm is getting close. One other issue, air quality in that moderate range. So it's not good by any means, and forecast to become unhealthy for sensitive groups tomorrow. So we are under an air quality alert on Friday.
Angela, thank you. Right now, police in Chicago are searching for answers after a mass shooting at a downtown nightclub killed 4 people and then injured more than a dozen others. That shooting happened overnight just after 11 in the River North neighborhood on Chicago Avenue. Sources say the shooting took place as people were leaving the Artist Lounge nightclub after an album release party. Authorities say a dark-colored vehicle drove past and let off shots into a crowd. 2 men, ages 24 and 25, and then 2 women were killed.
When I arrived last night, it was absolute chaos. From people screaming to blood on the streets to people laying on the streets, just a massive police presence, just horrific, more than I've ever seen.
That was Pastor Donovan Price, a community advocate, and he says there's lots of cameras in that area and he hopes they will lead police to the people responsible. Then one person was shot and another person suffered a graze wound in a shooting at a northeast side apartment complex. This is in Indy. That shooting happened just before 4 this morning on Meadows Lane, which is near 38th and Keystone. That's when police got there and they found a person shot. They told our crew at the scene that person is awake and breathing. And then later another person was found with a graze wound. Police tell us they did detain a person of interest at the scene. Officers did hear more gunshots while they were out there investigating this shooting. We'll continue to stay on it.
Nearly 100 people took the sacred oath of U.S. citizenship today at the federal courthouse here in downtown Indianapolis. On this eve of America's birthday, these new citizens are now starting a new chapter here in the U.S. 90 people from 33 countries stood before Judge Sarah Barker reciting the oath. For some, they've spent decades in the USA. For others, this took a few years. They all told us this was meaningful.
Today, I had the best day of my life. Today was the day when I became a U.S. citizen, and it's probably an honor to be a citizen from the United States. So I'm very happy.
It's so great to hear. And when asked what people were most excited about, most of them told us voting.
Well, if you're feeling patriotic a little early this year, there's a chance to see some fireworks before July 4th today. Beech Grove is setting some off tonight, and it is at Sarah T. Bolton Park, and the entire event kicks off at 5:30. There you can enjoy food vendors, a kids zone, and a DJ leading up to the fireworks being set off around dusk. Also, heads up, if you're traveling in this area, you will not be able to drive inside the park. And if you still don't know where you want to go to see fireworks tomorrow night, you can head to our website, WTHR.com. We've actually placed a full list of shows and celebrations in and around Indianapolis.
Yeah, lots of different opportunities to see those fireworks, and your 4th of July celebration will come at a cost. So today we want to break down the numbers for everything from traveling to cookouts.